I don't want to start.
Mark's out of town.
Where's Commissioner Adams?
Mark McCann is not coming.
Mark's
He's in
not
training.
I don't see what we can start.
Did you neither? Oh. You guys, they're good.
Judge, Mr. Cummings?
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. I'll ask Commissioner O'Malley to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Commissioner Cummings, we start with our Commissioner, Sheriff McAndrew is in training in Wilkesboro, so he will not be here today. We'll call the meeting to order for the Board of Managers. I'm guessing hope everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes that were transmitted to us a couple weeks ago. And if so, I'll ask for a motion to approve.
so moved.
We have a second?
Second.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. The minutes are approved from the last meeting. Anybody from the public wish to address the board on the agenda items? I see nobody stepping forward, so we'll move to the Juvenile Detention Center report. Director Stein? You have a tan. Were you preparing your report in the sun?
Lawn work.
Lawn work.
Yeah,
Okay.
the past couple of, well, when the sun shines, anyway. Good afternoon. It says on here that we have 2 juveniles. We actually have 4 as of today. April admissions was at 18, year-to-date admissions 61, year-to-date admissions of females is at 7. Days of service 151, female 15. And year-to-date, 4 days of service, 538. Our overtime is currently at $6,252.93 due to staffing. The breakdown is on the back. We still have 1 detention officer on intermittent FMLA, 1 is on military leave, 1 officer was terminated, another 1 resigned, bringing the center to 8 active detention officers. And we did do a tour on May 9th of the Northampton Juvenile Center, and that went very well. That concludes my report.
Any questions for the director? Okay, if none, thank you, Mary. I'll
Thanks.
entertain a motion to approve the director's report. And a second? On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. Anybody from the public wish to address the Board of Managers? Okay, no one stepping forward. Any members have any business for the Board of Managers? Other business?
Just wondering when we're going to get an update on the meetings that they've been having progress to
Can you,
future growth or that's about it. Just want to make that known.
okay. Anybody else? Okay, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. And a second?
I'll second.
Okay, on the question. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. The May 2018 meeting of the Board of Managers is closed. We'll call the meeting of the Prison Board together to order. And once again, I trust everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes, which were transmitted well in advance of the meeting. And if you have, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes. On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. The minutes from last month's meeting are approved. Anybody from the public wish to address the board on the agenda items? I think Mr. Bolus was in charge of passing out the agenda, and he did it well. So, okay, nobody with the questions for the agenda items. First item, 18-1022, I'll entertain a motion to approve all current payables for the Community Corrections Center, the Juvenile Detention Center, and the prison.
So moved.
A second? On the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. All current payables for Community Corrections Center, Juvenile Detention Center, and the prison will be paid. Okay, we'll take the Controller's Report, item 18-1023. Controller DeVillio.
Yes. The Controller's Office reviewed the prison inmate and canteen account reconciliations, which were prepared by the Prison Business Office for the month of April 2018 and found no discrepancies between the reconciliations and the bank statements. The balance in the inmate account was $444,755.56 as of April 30th of 2018, and the balance in the canteen checking account was $487,324.34 as of April 30th of 2018. And in addition, as of April 30th of 2018, the canteen account owned 2 certificates of deposit, one valued at $15,000 and the other at $131,910.21, which totals $146,910.21. And that concludes my report.
Any questions for the Controller? Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the Controller's Report for May of 2018.
Make the motion.
Second.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. The Controller's Report is approved. Thank you, Gary. Next, item 18-1024, the Community Corrections Center Report. We'll call on Director Brian Jeffers.
Good afternoon, Board.
Afternoon.
The program totals for April of 2018, our program total is item 1. Male work release had 49 participants, female work release had 3. Adult house arrest had 147 participants, and juvenile house arrest had 20 participants. Our program revenues, item 2, for the month of April totaled $68,833.16. Item 3, our program's expenses for the month of April totaled $94,283.60. Item 4, our program's completions. Work release had 9, house arrest had 28. Item 5, our violations. Work release had 4, house arrest had 11. Item 6, our program warrants. Work release has 5, house arrest has 2. Item 7, our budget report for the year so far. Overtime is at 45%, expenses are at 30%, and revenue is at 36%. That concludes my report for April.
Any questions for Director Jeffers? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve his report. Second?
Second.
On the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. The report's approved. Thank you, Director Jeffers.
Thank you.
Okay, then we'll move to item 18-1025, the Warden's report. Warden Betty, please.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
The average daily in-house population for the month of April was 819 inmates. The overtime report, out-of-county boarding, and the community service report are attached. The staffing update regarding correctional officers, we have 170 uniformed staff on shift. That includes 15 cadets who graduated this morning and will be on shift as of tomorrow. We have 1 individual out on workers' comp, 2 on administrative leave, and 7 vacancies for a total of 180. The new class of cadets completed training, as I just said, today and are on shift tomorrow. We'll be sending all 15 officers to a 4-week Department of Corrections course within the following year so that they can be certified as correctional officers.
Will they be staggered, or will they all
Yes,
go?
yeah, we usually send 2 or 3 at a time. Yeah, as beds become available, we'll plug them in, but usually that's all they make available to us is 2 or 3. FMLA, we have 24 officers that have intermittent FMLA. It amounts to 13.7% of the correctional officers. The budget as of April 30th, revenues at 28% and expenses are at 31%. Juveniles, currently we're housing 1 male juvenile, no females. And inmates at or past their minimum date is 32. We have 8 with no home plan. 4 of them are in community service. They're working their way to the work release program so they can get themselves established with a good home plan to get paroled. We have 5 that parole has been denied due to an unacceptable home plan or misconduct. 8 with home plan submitted and we're awaiting paroling action. 9 have been remanded for the balance of their sentence, and 2 other. That one individual I've been reporting for months. He's still in New Jersey, and he will be for quite some time. And the other one is in a rehab, and we're working on getting him paroled. Extraordinary occurrence reports. There were 8 extraordinary occurrences since the last prison board meeting. On April 24th, the county inmate attempted to hang herself in her cell. Staff successfully interceded, and the person was placed on a suicide prevention watch. On 4/28, a county inmate was sprayed with OC and placed in the restraint chair after assaulting a female staff member at the time of her commitment. She has since been charged with assault on a correctional officer. On 5/3, a county inmate assaulted a staff member and was placed into the restraint chair for staff safety. Also on 5/3, a county inmate attempted to commit suicide by intentionally raising himself up and over the upper tier railing and falling to the floor. He was hospitalized with serious injuries, and he remains in the hospital. On 5/5, a county inmate was placed in a restraint chair for his own safety. He became uncooperative while being moved to a camera cell after he had expressed suicidal ideations. On 5/8, a county inmate was placed in the restraint chair after she was punching herself in the head and banging her head off the cell door. On 5/8, a county inmate expressed suicidal ideation and was being moved to a camera cell. During the move, he became combative and he was spitting at staff. He was then placed into the restraint chair for his own safety and the safety of the staff. We also have something called a spit hood that we could put over the heads of individuals to prevent them from spitting onto officers. On 5/10, a female county inmate was placed into the emergency restraint chair due to her combative behavior at the time of being recommitted. She was out on I don't know if she was a house arrest individual or out on parole, but she came back in and was very, very much out of it and combative. It's the very next sentence. She was on house arrest. She was on house arrest and returned due to a rules violation. PREA, there were 2 allegations of PREA violations. One allegation was staff on inmate in nature, and it was deemed unfounded. And the other was an inmate on inmate in nature. It was deemed unsubstantiated. The results of both investigations were forwarded to the district attorney's office. And that concludes my report.
Any questions for the warden?
You had a rough couple of weeks, Warden.
Yeah, and you know what? We do go through cycles, and frankly, I think it's unproven. I think it's the change of the seasons. I think it brings out some things in individuals, because it does happen in the fall as well.
Well, just so you're aware, we just had a very interesting debate over medical marijuana, so you better make sure that maybe that might be something that's initiating behavior. Just to let you.
I don't think we're going to start using that at the prison.
Oh, I mean, if they came in, you know.
Just kidding.
Oh, you know. I just got out of a 2.5 hours, sorry.
We're going to try and keep it as short as we can for you. Anybody else have any questions for the warden?
Just one thing. Warden, bringing on the new class of cadets will save money overall because of less overtime, correct?
Yes. Yeah, and we had a higher than average month of overtime, especially, we had 4 hospitalizations at the same time. And when that happens, unfortunately, we can't tell the hospital, oh, put Joe and John in the same room. So we ended up with 8 officers every shift for a couple days. That's all overtime. Because they're being pulled from the jail to work the hospital, we have to backfill their spots at the jail. So we were running 15 officers short at the time, and then this 4 hospitalizations really created like 8 more spots for a couple days. Round the clock, 24/7.
You have to make sure they're totally secure.
Yeah.
You have to do it all times, one would have gotten.
But there's no part-time officers, so we can't even fill them. I mean, they're
They're back from that now.
Right, and we do, thank you, Commissioner, we do have an ad out, and that ad is running until Monday. It's looking for both part-time and full-time officers. So that close of business day on Monday is the end of that ad being posted. So if anybody's watching this on TV and is interested, I encourage you to apply.
There is another really good job on your home plans.
Oh.
The numbers are way down.
Yeah, probation and parole has been working. Every 2 weeks, they're meeting with Colleen Orzel from the prison, as well as a couple other key staff members at the prison, and they're doing a heck of a job getting that down where, yeah.
Yeah, it's really great.
We're looking for 0, but we'll get there someday.
Colleen Orzel and Jerry Dempsey do a great job.
Yeah, and Jerry.
Who are they? I'm
Colleen Orzel and Jerry Dempsey.
Well, that because of their work, these numbers have gone down to single digits. So, I mean, that's great. Tell them we all say congratulations.
I certainly will, thank you.
Anybody else? All right, if not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the warden's report for May.
So, second.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
You guys have it. Thank you, Warden. Next board meeting will be when?
Is Tracy on that?
28th of June. is the
28th
next
of
one.
June, okay, all right. Yeah. I have a problem with the July meeting, but Sheriff McCandler will be here, he can run it. All right, any members of the public, you're welcome to come forward. Mr. Bolus?
Afternoon, Bob Bola, Scranton. Judge, first off, I'd like to congratulate you on Saturday. Hope everything goes well and the district attorney doesn't have to look for you or the warden.
Not this Saturday, so don't get them too excited. A couple Saturdays.
We'll see that they keep you out of trouble till then.
I'm getting married in case anybody wants.
See, put a smile on his face for a change. Isn't it nice to see a happy judge? It's kind of funny with the restraint chair. I think we should start charging for it. It's got more use than anything else in the jail. But my favorite
Sometimes I'm
part
gonna
of...
bring it to the meetings.
There we go. We should do something with it. My favorite topic is pillows at the jail. We
I
all,
don't think we can use pillows there, Bob. They're a safety hazard. And this is just, I haven't consulted with the board on this, but my immediate reaction to it is they can be used as a weapon. They can be used as a suicide risk aid or an assault aid. They can be filled with something hard and used as a very effective weapon.
I could look at that, Judge, if they weren't used in any other jails anywhere in the country. But unfortunately, they're used in state and federal prisons all throughout the country. If somebody wants to use a weapon, they don't need a pillow. You got your bedroll, you got your mat, you got a towel. You could use anything in that jail as a weapon.
Including a pillow.
Including a pillow, exactly, or the mattress, or whatever. That's why we have correctional officers there to make sure that doesn't happen. But I still think that in order to sleep, you need a pillow. There should be pillows. What we have there doesn't work. And I'm speaking from experience. I've been there.
I appreciate your concern, I do.
And I don't see why we can't have them in certain areas of the jail then, but I believe that they should definitely be in there. And I think we should set up a program for PTSD study of inmates and correctional officers in the jail for what they go through. And I think we'll see a lot less issues and a lot less problems. So those are one of the things that I've been pushing PTSD for our vets, and I'm also pushing it for the inmates as well and the correctional officers. Because when they're working a double or a triple shift, it's not going to live in hell out of them too. And
No, we appreciate that, which is why we're, trying to get these vacancies filled as quickly as we can, and even with some part-time.
But that was one of the issues. The other part is since recreational marijuana is going to be the up-and-coming thing, is that going to be allowed in the jail, in the smoke rooms? I'm just curious. It's,
No.
wait, I,
Well, first of all, Bob, it's not, what's legalized here is medicinal. It's not recreational.
no,
So you have to have a prescription, and you have to be able to, well, you have to have a certification from a doctor,
No.
which is essentially,
what I'm saying, Judge, is we know it's coming. When it comes,
That's not gonna come if I have anything to say about it.
if it comes and it's recreational marijuana, will it be okay in the jail? Because we're going to have to let a truck driver smoke it, too.
no, I don't think that it would be, quite honestly, because we don't allow alcohol in, we don't allow cigarettes in there, we don't allow cigars in there, and this creates smoke, so to me, it'd be,
No, I didn't mean inside. I'm talking when you walk outside and have a cigarette.
well, we have, we can set up regulations for the perimeter of the facility.
I just thought I'd bring it up since we've been on that subject all morning today. Thank you, and
Okay.
again, congratulations.
Thank you. Anybody else? Doctor?
Yes, Dr. Stephanie Bressler from Scranton, and I'm representing Progressive Women of NEPA, and I'd like to bring this back to some very serious questions here. And some of these questions are follow-up questions, and I've been asking some of these questions month after month after month. And I hear how the board is appreciative of our bringing these issues to the board, but some of these questions have not received answers, so I'm asking for some answers. I've noted for months that compliance with the National Commission on Correctional Health Care recommendations for women's nutrition and diet include recommendations for women to receive a minimum of calcium and vitamin D in their diet. When I inquired months ago, I was told that milk would be available under the new food services contract. And in fact, the RFP for the food services contract looked beautiful. Nutritional requirements were clearly laid out as part of that RFP. Last month, I asked if the new contract and recommendations had been implemented. The warden indicated that the new contract had not been implemented. In the February meeting, the warden reported that the review committee had made a recommendation to the board to grant the contract to Aramark. So I'm asking today, what is the status of that contract and when will it be implemented?
Does that have to go to the commissioners? I thought we did.
Did the commissioners approve it? And why hasn't it been implemented?
Has it been approved?
Has it been approved by the commissioners?
We don't think
In February, the warden made the recommendation.
I didn't come up.
I was gonna say.
Go ahead, you
Speak
can
up?
ask.
I just spoke with Praxis, which is the company assisting us in that, and they are still in contract negotiations with the potential future provider. I'm trying to move things along.
Sometimes these don't work as quickly as we would like them to. I mean, it certainly is something that they're going forward on and is going in the right direction. But, we'll stay after it.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, so you're telling me that it has not been approved by the commissioners because it's
hasn't
still in
gotten
the...
to commission.
Well, it hasn't been finalized yet.
Has it been approved by the board?
It hasn't been finalized yet.
Contractor hasn't gotten back to us.
Okay. Okay. All right, we will continue to monitor that situation. We also have continued to ask questions about how the canteen funds are used. We asked last month for a written policy on how these funds are used. How can we access this policy? And I believe the solicitor said he was going to provide that.
The PA code that was,
Yeah, I've looked at the PA code, yes.
that's what I referred to.
Okay, so does the board have a written policy about how canteen funds are used?
To my knowledge, no. But if the code tells
So-
us what we have to do, then.
Well, the code really doesn't say much. It's very, very, very general that you can have a commissary, basically. So are these decisions made on an individual basis? Is there no policy that to inform the decisions about how canteen funds are used?
I believe, since I've been here, that there has been no use of those funds that was not discussed at an open prison board
Right.
meeting.
Policy is to bring it to the board at a public meeting and discuss.
And so there are no guidelines or standards as to what those funds can be used for. So it's totally up to the discretion of the board.
Solicitor, isn't it basically to, as long as it's the betterment of the inmate?
Yeah.
It's not a requirement. That is a previous version of the code, had some specifics as to the limits of the use. That's been changed, required to make sure it's audited and has financial accounting responsibilities, but it's discretionary as its use. Now, it's been the practice of this board to
It
try
seems that
to-
everything goes towards whatever.
to direct it towards the inmates benefiting that use.
She's looking for a policy.
You want a written policy?
It
Well-
would be 1, 2, 3, this is acceptable, this is, we don't, I think that would get us into.
It seems like there should be some general standards. You know, for example, a lot of money was given to Preces, and that doesn't directly benefit the inmates. It indirectly benefits the inmates, but there are some funds coming out of the canteen monies that really should be coming out of the prison board budget. So I'm just asking that there be,
Budget, it's
Yeah.
county funds.
right. Yes. And of course, the prison part of the budget is a very big part of the
Yes.
budget.
No,
Yes.
you're absolutely right.
Okay, so the answer is there is no policy and there will be no policy.
I think the answer is, what we have said to you is that when there's a proposal to use those funds, that it's discussed openly at a public meeting, and the general guideline is that it's to be used toward the betterment of the inmates, the inmate population. If you're asking us if that's been reduced to writing, to my knowledge, it has not.
Not by this board, but by the state it has, correct?
There is a code statute that specifies certain things that we're required to do if we maintain them.
But it's not up to one individual board member, for instance, to say, you know, spend it on this or spend it on that. We make our decisions as a group in the open.
Okay. And since I can't find it in the Pennsylvania Code, if the solicitor could just give me a reference, I'd really appreciate that.
Okay.
I'll give it right
Okay.
now. It's Title 37, Chapter 95, it's Section 95.239.
Thank you. Okay, and then finally, a question that we have asked over and over and over again is, what is the status of the proposal to return GED to the prison, to make it accessible as the inmate handbook says it is?
The proposal's going to be, it's going to be a request for a proposal. Mr. DeBillio is going to make a motion for that at the end of the meeting today.
Okay. Good.
Moving forward on it.
Okay, so there will be an RFP?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, that's good news.
Okay.
Okay, and we have some...
If his motion passes, and I don't have any reason to think that it won't.
Okay, and Progressive Women, we have some additional concerns that another member is going to address.
Hi, I'm Amy Fleming from Glenburn. I'm a member of Progressive Women, and I've been a mental health worker. The warden's report today shows some extraordinary occurrences that include serious mental health problems and suicide threat issues. In the past, the warden said a person needing attention could wait a few days to see a psychiatrist. In the mental health field, a suicide threat or attempt is considered an emergency, and the person threatening or attempting suicide cannot wait a few days to see a mental health person. One question is, what is the prison's protocol for inmates at risk for suicide threats or attempts? And my second is, are there any psychiatric mental health workers on the prison staff, say, for the health? Are there any psychiatric nurses, someone that's more familiar with medications and the types of mental illnesses that could maybe follow some of these patients? I'm sure the psychiatrist doesn't have much time to see people. So those are my questions. And we're asking these within the context of Luzerne County prisons experiencing 3 women's suicides since last June, and we don't want this to happen here.
Warden,
You want me to come up for that one?
you can stay there.
I'll come up, because I might get long-winded on this.
Okay.
I'll limit myself. Yeah, I won't be long-winded, but I just wanted to make sure. Regarding the protocol for suicide precautions, when an individual is committed, he or she is asked by that officer who is booking them. That's number 1. They are seen by a nurse before they even get into the blocks. That's 2. Within 48 hours, they are seen again by the nursing department and given a full medical, which includes the mental health examination. That's 3. The individual's counselor, when they're on the assessment unit, will ask them about suicidal ideations. So that's 4 times, and that's usually within the first 4 days of commitment. They're asked about that at least 4 times. If an individual hesitates, cries, says yes, anything along those lines, will immediately go into suicide precautions. And what we have there is we have camera cells where we can have the person observed 24/7 with an officer stationed on the monitor watching that individual. We have inmate tier walkers that go around all the time. Now, in addition to the officers, they're there helping and assisting the officer. Our medical staff will make sure that he gets put on the psychiatrist's list to be seen. So he will be seen, and Dr. Malik comes in 3 times.
Explain that the inmate tier walkers are utilized in the blocks that basically, in other words, the ones that are on suicide watch, they're completely watched by the COs.
Yes.
In the regular, now this happened years ago. About 4 years ago, we started having a rash of suicides. It happens every so often. Years before that, when I worked at the prison, we had inmate tier walkers to just walk the actual corridor of each one of the blocks or units or towers, but they weren't in the restricted housing unit. This is just the regular cells, so to make sure that no one's trying to hang themselves or hurt themselves. Something we don't have to have, but how much does that help us prevent suicide?
It helps tremendously because sometimes it's just an extra set of ears for that individual who's having bad thoughts to reach out to, number 1. Sometimes they see things.
General population,
Yeah.
just want to get that.
Yeah. Yeah. I also wanted to tell you that our staff have upon being hired, they have suicide training, suicide prevention training. What I implemented since I'm there is they're also getting a full day through NAMI. They're getting mental health first aid. It's a full 8-hour day that they do just dedicated to that. Of course, a large portion of that is dedicated to suicide prevention. Getting back to, I was mentioning Dr. Malik, he's the prison psychiatrist. He comes in 3 times a week. Scranton Counseling Center has Denny Russo there for 40 hours a week as well. As far as, it kind of bleeds into the other question, psych workers on staff, we don't have anyone who is gone for, we don't have, I don't think Dr. Zaloga with Correctional Care Inc. has any psychiatric nurses. I don't think they do. But again, we put as much effort into suicide precaution as we can put in there. I guess that's it. I guess I wrapped it up a lot quicker.
Responsive to your questions, ma'am?
Yes, I have concerns just about medication, going on in the cell, and if anybody's checking up on that on a regular basis.
Well, Denny Russo,
They're not
yeah.
given medication in the cell.
Right.
Oh, no, I mean prisoners given medication. If they've been on psychiatric medication when they came in, is it continued and is someone following it?
As soon as they can verify it, our medical department has to verify it with whoever the provider was that had prescribed the psychotropic medication. As soon as that's verified, we get it for them. They do put a rush on that. I'm sure there are times when an individual maybe is from out in the Pittsburgh area and there's a delay just involved in contacting the provider out in the Pittsburgh area as to who prescribed whatever it was. So I'm sure there's delays that happen, but we get it as quick as we can.
Okay, if Dr. Malik prescribes medication, is there somebody that kind of follows up on that? Or?
Yeah, that's one of Denny Russo's main functions is he's doing a lot of the footwork for the psychiatrist.
All right, okay. So that's
And then the doctor will,
Yeah.
he'll meet with them on a regular routine basis, depending on how often it's required based on his criteria, Dr. Malik's criteria. He'll see them weekly. If they're on a suicide watch, he'll see them every time he comes in. So, and they don't come off of the, I don't take them off of the suicide watch. Only Dr. Malik, the prison psychiatrist, can take them off of a camera cell watch.
Thank you, Warden.
Yep.
Anybody else?
Hi. Bev DeBarros, Quincy Avenue in Scranton, PA. I'm here to talk about the books, our so-called library. Some people call it the bookmobile, but a while ago we were authorized to come in. We have volunteers, we have donated books, no cost to the prison. And we gradually build up, and in January, we had a really good month. And just to say, we served 428 people in that 1 month and gave out 1,125 books. That was January. February, we know what happened. There was a crash in February, and a lot of things were shut down. March, we came back a little bit better, but not too much. Then in April, this past month, I totaled up our figures, and we only saw 102 people. We only gave out 186 books. This is sad, because people donate these books in good faith that they're going to be used. The program has so much potential, but these resources are not being used. We have 4 library book carts loaded, and we have hundreds of more books in backup, ready to be circulated. We have our donors continue. Last month, Scranton Prep had a 1-month book drive from the students, their parents, the teachers, and they brought 700 plus books. Plus, we asked them specifically for Spanish books, which we had a hard time getting, and they brought us 60 used paperback Spanish books, which are so appreciated there. Our Albright Memorial Library has just started. I asked them when they take the magazines that are a month or so old and they take it out of circulation, they bundle them up and give it to us. Excellent magazines that, again, are appreciated, but would be appreciated if we could get them in there. We have 1 GED manual that we were able to get from somebody, and the young man who got that borrowed it from the cart. I said, treasure this, because it's the only one we have. And he said thanks, and that he would write all his answers in the notebook and keep it blank for the next person to use. Same with the CDL. We were able to find 1 CDL manual, which is being studied now. And we should have multiples of these things, but I don't even know where to get them. We need to have a meeting, and I have requested a meeting with the warden, the deputy warden, to set guidelines and schedules. As I mentioned about April being so low, we were only admitted 4 times in April. Now, I think it was March, I saw the warden outside, and we talked, and I said, at that point, we had been turned away 8 times. And he said, oh, he would make a phone call, so I'm expecting we're going to get in there. That didn't happen. I know it's always up to the sergeants, but we never know in advance. So this, for instance, this past Monday morning, I emailed to Deputy Warden Langen, who the warden has turned the program over to him. He's my contact person. So I wrote in this email, tomorrow on Tuesday, May 15th at 5 p.m., Casey and Jim plan to come in. Please alert your staff to facilitate this. During the entire month of April, we were admitted only 4 times and denied access countless times, at least 15 times. Thanks, Bev. And I didn't hear anything, so they go in. Then I get a call yesterday from Jim, I'm at the prison, we can't get in, they won't let us in. So this morning, I get another email from Dave Langen, and I don't see him here. I wanted to talk to him about this. But this morning's email said, I will let the shift commander know of your concerns. We appreciate everyone that does this, and we are sorry if, at times, we are too busy to accommodate. That's, yeah. Who?
You do understand it's a very secure facility? and
Yes.
Sometimes they're just not able to.
Yes.
And it might be in the morning, there could be breakfast going on, court could be going, something comes up, and they're just not able to let you in because they have to make sure that you're safe. The warden can answer this more thoroughly than I can, but, right, warden? Am I
Yeah.
right? A lot of times, like you said, whoever this run the shift at that time when you come in, if they feel that it's not an adequate time, then they just can't have you go through the jail because they don't want you to get hurt. So,
We've been through the training, we know all this, what you're saying, we see the programs that go on in there, the meal times, the rec times, and we work around everything, meds, everything. We step aside while that takes place, we come up again. We spend a lot of hours in there. It's not just easy, it's hard. And all our volunteers have jobs, and they're, taking the
whoever's
time
running
out.
that shift, it's their prerogative of their job. If there is a threat or some kind of emergency type of situation, that you try to keep anyone out so that they don't get hurt. That's,
Okay.
Gordon, would you like to give us explain this?
Well, I can certainly explain yesterday's. Yesterday, because of the poor weather, we had gone to using keys instead of our normal way, Commissioner. It's a lot more, as you know, it's a lot more time consuming when we go to the actual keys, and that was in anticipation of power outages because of the nasty storms that came through. The other, yeah, and they got pretty nasty. The other instances, I have delegated that. I will have a meeting with those that I delegated that to address the concerns that was bringing up.
But absent an emergency, why can't there be some regular staff?
Part of the problem has been our staff shortage. We've been short. That's why we have those.
But everything, your meals are regular,
Yeah.
your shifts are regular. Why can't that just be built into the operation?
There might not be
for
someone-
emergencies.
Having someone to go around with the individual has been a problem that's been expressed to me from the shift commander on that shift. Having that additional body. I don't know how long the process takes when the folks are in, but that's been.
How much time do they
PSA.
spend there?
2 hours.
The utmost responsibility of the prison is to make sure that it's secure at all times, and if your staff is lacking, you have to make cuts in certain areas so you make sure the rest of the facility is secure to get its regular operational stuff done all day long.
Are your people capable of a set schedule?
Yes, we have it posted in our room where the books are. We've downgraded it from more hours to, now we have evening, Monday to Friday, 4 to 6 or 5 to 7, and Saturday morning, 10 o'clock, Saturday afternoon, 4 o'clock. So there's plenty of opportunities, and this is what we used in January when we had all these nice figures. This program is so appreciated by many of the COs because they see that the benefits. And of course, the inmates, very appreciative. And one guy calls us the book angels, which is nice. So I hope to get
It's a
some.
great program.
It is, and I was hoping to, as a last resort, try to get some help from here, since on my own, I haven't been able to get the help that we need.
Well, I'll direct the warden, we can direct the warden and the deputy warden to try and see if they can get a set schedule with you. So it can accommodate, the need is also accommodate the desire. Understand that there may be times that will come up when that set schedule is going to have to be interrupted. But if it can,
Yeah.
because it's a win-win as far as we're concerned. Much rather have somebody sitting reading a book than not doing anything. Okay? Thank you. Anybody else? Warden.
I just wanted to put my 2 cents in at the end here. I'll address that this afternoon and tomorrow.
Okay.
It'll be addressed.
Thank you.
Ward, I got a question. How does this work? When they go through, is it just like a library because they sign in and sign out books, or is it just like hand it out? Because the problem is sometimes you get an overabundance of stuff in the blocks.
Right, and I was going to say, Bev can answer that better than I
How does
can.
that work?
We have a book for every block, like this is Bravo. We go in, sign when we go in.
Just like the librarian.
Yeah.
They sign their name, it's their cell number, how many books they took out, how many books they returned, any comments, like an author they want. Well, now when Ramadan starts today, we're getting.
So as many as going in and many goes out. Good, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Members with business?
I have something, Judge. Thank you. No problem. I would have liked to mention this to other board members prior to the meeting. I apologize if I didn't have the opportunity to. But I'd like to make a motion that the prison board begin the process of bringing back to our Lackawanna County Prison a GED program, which is General Education Diploma Program. We've had several discussions recently about reinstituting a GED program at the prison. Our controller's office's opinion is that the canteen account can sustain the cost of this program very sufficiently, using these canteen funds to provide inmates with an opportunity to earn a GED degree, a chance to give them a better chance in their future. And once they get back into the community is one of the best things, if not the best thing we can do for our inmates. So I don't know if we need to put this in the form of a request for proposal or request for qualification, Judge.
Something we have to run through the purchasing right now. We have
It's
to
a
reach out.
contract, don't we get
Yeah, I think we have to,
We're not hiring somebody to do that.
I think it's something, some of that work would then go through our work session
Don't we do that?
and then it would be through purchasing, right?
Can you look into it?
So whatever that process may be, and I'd like to put that in the form of a motion that we begin that process.
And so we can check it to see what procedures we have to follow.
Yeah, 'cause I'm not sure exactly.
You can do a
I thought we were
motion there.
looking into it anyway in general.
Well, we were looking at it, but we keep looking into it. We want to get it moving.
Well, let's get it
We can
moving.
reach out to purchasing and see what the situation is.
You made a
David?
motion.
If we just made the motion to request the county to obtain a GED provider through the appropriate county process, we could advance it towards the
Okay.
county. Once we approve it to you, then it's,
Then go to the
goes
county.
in terms of your procedures, whether it goes
Okay.
for purchasing or
In that case, we could go forward with it.
But I just want to make sure that we're not employing somebody, we're just going to hire an agency.
No, as a board,
Right,
we said we
thank you.
want to obtain a GED provider and request that the county explore entering into a contract for that service.
The warden's dealt with the GED program in the past, actually, I think
Yes.
he's actually the first person I think that actually, Warden, am I right on this? Are you like the first person to start the GED program back years ago?
No, they had that started even when I started at the
I
prison. It
remember
was-
that you were a big part of it at the time.
Yeah, I helped it go along, but it's been running for decades, since probably the late
Forward to the
70s.
Board of
It really
Commissioners,
works.
that'd be your motion, all right?
Yeah.
Okay, second it. All in favor?
I'll second it.
Okay.
On the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm gonna abstain. I'm not real sure.
Well, they're gonna just bring it to us and we can look at it.
It's a good program.
It's not a problem.
Okay. Well, the ayes have it, so we'll move forward
Doesn't
with
matter what I
it.
say anyways.
It does. But
And that's all I have, Judge. Thank you.
Okay.
Make a motion to adjourn.
any other board members have any other business? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
On the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Here, I'll reach out to purchasing.
Okay, sure.